Remember that scene in The Big Short where they're all celebrating their mortgages being paid off, thinking they've won? Yeah, they had no idea what was actually coming. And here's the kicker. You might be in the exact same trap right now, just a different version of it. Your parents told you, pay off the house, then you're free. The American dream, right? Own your home outright. No bank owns you anymore. Freedom. But here's what nobody tells you, and I'm going to show you why this might be the most expensive financial decision you'll ever make. We're talking about $847,000 in lost wealth over 30 years. Yeah, you heard that right. Almost $1 million. I'm Philly, your mind surgeon. Your salary goes up, but your wealth doesn't? Not a coincidence. It's by design. You spent 30 years paying off that house, but now that house is holding you hostage. Subscribe. Let's keep cracking the code. Now, I know what you're thinking. Philly, you're crazy. How can owning my home free and clear be dangerous? I finally don't owe anyone anything. And that's exactly what they want you to think, man. Let me ask you something. You know that feeling when you make the last mortgage payment? That weight lifting off your shoulders? The celebration dinner? Posting on Facebook about being finally free? I get it. I really do. But think about this for a second. What happens the next day? You wake up and you've got this massive asset. Let's say it's worth $500,000. It's just sitting there, not working, not growing, just existing. Meanwhile, your neighbor, yeah, the one who just bought his house last year, he's got a 3% mortgage, and he took that $500,000 he could have used to pay off his house and dumped it into investments returning 8 to 10% annually. You're both living in similar houses, same neighborhood, same property taxes, same maintenance costs. But here's where it gets wild. He's building wealth while he sleeps. You're house rich and cash poor, my friend. And this isn't some new age financial guru BS. This is math. Cold, hard, ruthless math. See, when you lock all your money into your house, you're essentially putting your wealth in a safe that grows at the rate of housing appreciation. Historically, about 3 to 4% per year. Congrats. You're barely beating inflation, but it gets worse, way worse, because that $500,000 in your house, it's not liquid. You can't use it in an emergency without going into debt again through a HELOC or a cash-out refinance. You can't invest it when the market crashes and everything's on sale. You can't pivot when opportunities come up. You built a beautiful prison, and you're the prisoner. And remember, property taxes don't care that you paid off your house. Insurance doesn't care. Maintenance doesn't care. That roof still needs replacing every 20 years whether you have a mortgage or not. The AC still breaks. The water heater still dies. You thought you were free, but you just traded one set of chains for another. But here's what really gets me fired up, and this is where it gets dark. The system taught you this. Your parents, your teachers, every financial expert on TV told you the same story. Pay off your house, that's the goal. Why? Because it keeps you in place. It keeps you working. It keeps you from building real wealth that could actually set you free. Now let me show you the real numbers. And fair warning, you might want to sit down for this part. All right, let's do the math. And I'm going to use conservative numbers so you can't say I'm exaggerating. Let's say you have a $400,000 mortgage at 3.5%. Your payment is about $1,800 a month. You decide to pay it off early. You hustle, you sacrifice, you dump every extra dollar into that principal. You pay it off in 15 years instead of 30. You feel like a champion. Meanwhile, your buddy keeps his mortgage for the full 30 years and invests that extra money you were putting towards your house. He's putting it in a boring index fund. Nothing fancy, just the S&P 500, averaging 10% returns annually. After 30 years, you both own your houses free and clear. But here's where your jaw's gonna drop. You own a house worth maybe $650,000 with appreciation. That's it. That's your wealth from this decision. Your buddy? He owns the same house worth $650,000. Plus, he's got $1.2 million in his investment account. That's not a typo. $1.2 million. The difference? $847,000 in lost wealth. For what? For the feeling of owning your home outright? For some outdated notion of financial freedom that actually trapped you? Let me break this down even simpler. Every extra dollar you put toward that mortgage early, instead of investing it, cost you approximately $4.50 over 30 years. Think about that. You gave up $4.50 of future wealth for every $1 of freedom you bought. That's not financial freedom, buddy. That's financial self-sabotage. And here's what that $847,000 represents in real life. Your kid's entire college education, paid in full with money left over. Retiring 7 years early at your current lifestyle. A rental property generating $4,000 a month in passive income. Starting that business you always dreamed about. Never worrying about money again. All of that gone. Sacrificed at the altar of paying off the house. But wait, it gets even worse. Because you know what else you lost? Flexibility. When COVID hit and people lost their jobs, who do you think had an easier time? The person with a paid-off house and no liquid savings? Or the person with a mortgage but $200,000 in accessible investments? When the market crashed in 2020 and everything went on sale, the best buying opportunity in a decade, who could invest? Not the person with all their money locked in their house. When your kid gets into their dream school but needs $30,000 a year, who has to scramble? The person with all their wealth in an illiquid asset. You built yourself a golden cage, man. And here's the truly insane part. You're actually paying more in taxes because of this. Yeah, you lost the mortgage deduction. You're paying higher effective tax rates on your income. But we'll get to that in a second, because now I need to show you why your brain was programmed to make this mistake in the first place. This isn't an accident. This is by design. Let me introduce you to what I call the debt freedom illusion. This is the psychological trap that makes paying off your house feel so good that you ignore the actual math. And it's been carefully programmed into your brain since childhood. Think about it. When did this programming start? Your parents. Always pay off your debts. Your grandparents survived the Depression. Of course they hate debt. Your teachers, your TV shows, every Disney movie had the same message. Debt is bad. Owning things free and clear is good. And in 1950, they were right. When mortgage rates were 6 to 8%, when the stock market was unpredictable, when investment options for regular people barely existed. Yeah, paying off your house made sense. But we're not in 1950 anymore, man. We're in a world where you can borrow money at 3% and invest it at 10% returns. We're in a world where inflation is essentially paying part of your mortgage for you. We're in a world where the rules changed, but the programming stayed the same. And here's what's really messed up. This programming serves someone, just not you. Banks don't actually want you to pay off your mortgage early. You think they do, but they don't. They make more money when you keep it and invest elsewhere. They can lend that money to someone else, but they're happy to let you think paying it off is the goal because it keeps you working, keeps you busy, keeps you from actually building wealth that could threaten the system. The government doesn't want you to have liquid wealth either. They want your money locked in your house because you can't easily move it, can't easily hide it, can't easily use it to generate more income they'd have to track. Employers love it too. You know why? Because once you lock all your wealth in your house, you can't quit. You can't take risks. You need that steady paycheck to pay your property taxes, your insurance, your maintenance. You're locked in. This is what I call the equity prison. You have wealth, but it's trapped. You're rich on paper, but broke in practice. And the psychological weight of this is crushing. This is the paper wealth paradox. You're a millionaire who can't afford dinner. You feel like you should be secure. You own your home, but you're stressed about money constantly. You can't understand why you don't feel wealthy. You see your house value go up on Zillow and feel good for a minute, but then reality hits when you need $10,000 for a new roof and don't have it. That's the Zillow high, a temporary dopamine hit that changes nothing about your actual financial position. The system sold you a dream and delivered a trap. This is what I call the ownership mirage, the belief that owning something outright equals financial security. They weaponized your fear of debt into what I call debt phobia syndrome. They turned your desire for security into a tool to keep you insecure. They created the freedom trap, making you believe that the finish line was paying off your house, when really that was just the starting line for building real wealth. And here's the kicker. You're experiencing the liquidity lockout. You've got assets but no access. You're living in the golden handcuffs house. It looks impressive, but you can't leave. This is the mortgage-free myth in action, man, and you fell for it. We all did. But here's the good news. Once you see the code, you can't unsee it. And now we're gonna hack it. Alright, so what do we actually do about this? Let me give you the exact playbook. Solution 1. Stop paying extra on your mortgage if you haven't paid it off yet. Immediately, stop making extra principal payments. Log into your mortgage account right now. Cancel any automatic extra payments. Set your payment to the minimum required amount. Calculate how much extra you were paying monthly. Let's say you were paying an extra $500 per month toward principal. Stop. Take that $500 and open a brokerage account at Vanguard or Fidelity. Put it in a target date retirement fund or a simple S&P 500 index fund. Set it to automatic. Forget about it. In 30 years, that $500 per month at 10% average returns becomes $1.1 million. The same $500 paying down your mortgage early saves you maybe $80,000 in total costs. You just made $1 million decision. Solution 2. If you already paid it off, extract that equity, get a cash out refinance or HELOC. Shop at least 3 lenders for rates: Bankrate, LendingTree, your local credit union. Target pulling out 60 to 70% of your home's value maximum. Lock in the longest term possible at the lowest rate. Look for rates under 5% if possible. Your house is worth $500,000 paid off. Get a $300,000 cash out refinance at 4.5% for 30 years. Your payment is about $1,500 per month. Take that $300,000 and invest it in a diversified portfolio. 70% stocks, 30% bonds, at a conservative 8% return. In 20 years, that becomes $1.4 million. Your house still appreciates normally. You just created $1.1 million in additional wealth. Yes, you have a mortgage payment again, but you're building actual wealth now. Solution 3. The Velocity Banking Strategy. Use your home equity as a financial tool, not a static asset. Get a HELOC, home equity line of credit, for maximum available amount. Keep it at zero balance normally. Use it only for cash flowing investments or time-sensitive opportunities. Never for consumption, only for assets that generate income. Market crashes, great stocks are on sale. You have a $100,000 HELOC at 6%. You temporarily draw $50,000, buy quality dividend stocks yielding 8 to 10% annually. The dividends cover the HELOC payments plus generate extra income. You pay it back over 2 to 3 years while keeping the appreciating stocks. You just used your home equity to buy income-generating assets. That's velocity banking. Okay, buddy, the virus has been cleared. You've debunked one of the biggest financial myths in American culture. The paid house isn't freedom, it's a golden cage. Real wealth isn't about owning everything directly. It's about making your money work harder than you do. Your family was well-meaning, but they gave you 1950s advice for a 2025 world. The game has changed. The rules have changed, but nobody updated the manual. Now you know the code. You understand the debt freedom illusion. You see the prison of equity as it is. And more importantly, you have the tools to get out of it. This isn't about being reckless with debt. This is about being strategic with leverage. There's a difference. The system wants you comfortable and stuck. I want you rich and free. That's the difference. If you want more of these kinds of financial brain surgeries, subscribe. I expose a new money myth every week. The algorithm doesn't want you seeing these things, so subscribing is really important. Now you know the game. Go play it the right way.